Okay, no outline today. I'm just going to wing it. This video is an exercise that I take all of my clients through. It's usually the first exercise that I take them through. It's meant to help you find the easiest thing for you to start with. A few videos ago, we talked about starting small. If you have the goal of flossing all of your teeth, rather than saying, I'm going to floss all my teeth every day, if you're starting from scratch, a better way to say it would be, I'm going to floss just one tooth right before I brush my teeth. The reason why that works so much, just for a recap, is because you're starting with a goal that is so small, it's impossible to fail. Flossing just one tooth, everybody can do that. And it's attaching it to a pre-existing habit, which is I already brush my teeth every night. When I go to brush my teeth, I'm reminded of this tiny little habit that I'm trying to create. So I'll go, yeah, right, I gotta floss just one tooth. I'll floss my one tooth and then I'll brush my teeth. And over time, you can build on that. That's how you build a habit. Now, this is the exercise that I like to take all my clients through. So this is going to lead into a larger, a more holistic focus of life, but I call these the three foundational pillars: nutrition, lifestyle, and exercise. We're gonna look at these three areas and you're going to score yourself, and then we're going to try to move the needle just a little bit. So the exercise is this. Let's start with nutrition. What you're going to do is you're going to score yourself between 1 and 10, 1 being really low, 10 being really high, and it's how you feel your relationship with that word nutrition is. Now, it's up to you for your interpretation. I'm not going to guide you on that. What I will say is that it's not meant to compare you to anybody. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm okay. I'm maybe a 7, but so-and-so is, they got it really dialed in. So compared to them, I'm actually a 3. It's not meant to do that at all. It's just your relationship with that word nutrition, all of your knowledge, all of your questions, past experiences, the challenges that you've had, your aspirations, these sorts of things with how you view nutrition. Where would you score yourself between 1 and 10? So I want you to mark that down right now. Okay, now let's move on to exercise. Exercise, the exact same question. So it's not meant to compare you to anybody. It's just meant to establish where you're at with that word exercise, your relationship to it, thoughts about it, your questions, your aspirations, your knowledge about exercise, challenges that you've had, your relationship to that word exercise. Where would you score it between 1 and 10? Write that down. Okay, now we're going to move to the third and last pillar, which is lifestyle. I will give you a little bit of guidance on this. So the way I think about lifestyle is just imagine yourself as a battery. Some things are going to charge you up and some things are going to drain you. Things that might charge you up are going on vacation or getting out into nature, getting a massage, maybe going out on a date with your significant other, playing sports or participating in your favorite hobbies, drawing, anything that you can think of where you're like, I really love to do that. And maybe you don't make enough time for it right now, but it's the things that charge you up. Whatever you can think of that charges you up. And then the things that drain and deplete your battery. So for me, it's like overworking. If I spend too much time working, that's absolutely going to drain my battery. If I don't get to bed on time, that's going to drain my battery. If I don't participate in my hobbies, or if I don't play music, if I don't get out in nature, that's going to drain my battery. Hopefully that's helping you formulate what lifestyle means for you. Now, let's go to the step of scoring yourself. So between 1 and 10, 1 being low, 10 being high, where would you score yourself right now with lifestyle? Write that down. Okay, so now you have your scores for nutrition, lifestyle, and exercise. Okay, let's circle back to nutrition now. Let's say you marked it a 5. What makes it a 5? Don't think of it as like just the bad. Think about it as also the good. What are all the things that make it a 5? A different way to say it is what makes it a 5 instead of a 6, or what makes it a 5 instead of a 4. That should help you understand why you scored yourself the way you did. Okay, so now let's move on to exercise. So let's say you scored exercise a 3. What makes it a 3? And again, not just the bad, not just the good, everything in between. You want to put as much as you can out on paper. So what makes it a 3 instead of a 2? What makes it a 3 instead of a 4? Once you've done that, let's move on to lifestyle. Let's say lifestyle is a 7. Why is it a 7? Why is it a 7 instead of an 8? Why is it a 7 and not a 6? What are the contributing factors that go into why you scored it a 7? And write that down. So let's now go back to nutrition one last time. And I think we said it was a 5. If it's a 5, what is one thing that you could do this week? So let's say that today's Monday. What's one thing that you could commit yourself to in the realm of nutrition every single day from now until this time next Monday that would move you from a 5 closer to a 6? And remember, when you're thinking about this, think about that example of flossing just one tooth. You want to make it so small, it's impossible to fail, but challenging enough, it's going to move you closer to a 6. I encourage you to take your time to think about this. It can be super simple. It could be just eating 1 carrot a day to say that you ate more vegetables. Or another example could be drinking 1 liter of water every single day between today and this time next week. That would move you closer to a 6. So once you figured that out, let's move on to exercise. So exercise, you said you scored it a 3. In this example, you said you scored it a 3. I don't know what you scored it, but let's say that you scored it a 3. The question you would ask yourself is, what is one thing that I could commit myself to this week between today and this time next week that is so small it's impossible to fail, but challenging enough it would move me from a 3 closer to a 4? And again, whatever that is, whatever comes to mind, write it down. Okay, so let's move on to lifestyle. So lifestyle, in the example, you scored it a 7. The same question applies. What is something that you can commit yourself to this week that is so small it's impossible to fail, but challenging enough it would move you from a 7 closer to an 8? And then whatever that is, whatever comes up for you, write it down. So now you should have on your paper 3 things that are going to move the needle in all of those areas of your life: nutrition, lifestyle, and exercise for the next week. And you can imagine that if you did this every single week in those 3 areas of life, this time next year you'll be in a wildly different place. In the example, nutrition was at a 5. If you did this every single week and checked in with yourself and asked yourself, what's the thing that I could do to move myself incrementally closer to the next number up? Imagine where you'd be this time next year. The one thing is we looked at 3 areas here: nutrition, lifestyle, and exercise. Individually, these are meant to be very small challenges. Moving nutrition from a 5 to a 6, the thing that you chose should have been so small it's impossible to fail. But if you try to do all 3, that is when you might experience some real difficulty, right? Because you're trying to introduce 3 new things all at once. And even though they're all individually very small, together they can be a little bit overwhelming. And the likelihood is that you'll fail on one of them. And if you fail on one of them, it might lead you to just give up on all of them. So the final question I like to ask with my clients when we do this exercise is, of these 3, which do you think would have the biggest impact in how you felt about your overall success and progression towards your larger goal of whatever the larger goal is? It might be exercise. It might be that, hey, if I really just stuck to my plan of doing 5 minutes of exercise when I get home from work, then that would make me feel like such a success. Like that would really be the difference maker in how I felt about this whole journey that I'm on of achieving the next version of myself. Or maybe it's nutrition. Whatever it is that you feel is going to be the biggest difference maker for you, you'll know it. You'll feel it in your gut that this is the thing that's going to make the biggest difference. I would encourage you to forgo the other 2 and just focus on that. As time goes on and you learn what works for you and you have more and more success with these tiny little habits and incrementally increasing the complexity as time goes on, then you can start to think, hey, maybe I'm having such great success with one, maybe I'll bring in something else, nutrition, or maybe you bring in nutrition and lifestyle. For now, I would encourage you to just focus on one. So I hope that this helped you. I'm going to link a sheet below this video so that you can download it, print it off, and go through it. I really hope that you do. And if you do, I'd love to hear from you. How did it go for you? Do you feel like you're more empowered around these changes that you're trying to make with your life? Do you feel like these 3 pillars are going to help you focus on what you'd like to change in your life and give you a better plan for success? I love reading your comments. Honestly, it makes my day. The fact that anybody watches these videos at all and potentially gets some benefit from them, I love it. So thank you very much. And I will see you in the next video.